the little rocket ship button that's up there. That's right, folks, you did not misread. There is another update from the folks at DJI. The Avinox drive unit and app both see some really cool new features, customizations, and we also have some official statements that we reached out to DJI about the possibility of upcoming power restrictions and what that could mean from their offerings, as well as for consumers all around the world who might see different regulations on their local trails. So let's dive in, learn all about them. So as I alluded to, there was an update not all that long ago on the Avinox drive unit and app, and the new update here takes that a step further. DJI shared this update with us just ahead of the launch so we could get some time, try it out, play with it on our phone, our app, as well as customize it and see how it works there on that touchscreen top tube display. And we're really appreciative of that opportunity because it kind of allowed us to take some time to create this video and hopefully address some of the concerns and questions that people have had. We're going to talk a little bit about both updates in one, so to speak, because some of those updates get rolled into this new update and are just expanded in what their features are. So let's dive right into it. Enhanced power output. The peak power is now going to be, well, it has been 1,000 watts. However, it will now be usable all the way down to the trail mode. So auto, trail, and turbo all can make use of that 1,000 watts, whereas before it was just the boost mode, then turbo. Now it's all the way down to trail. Of course, that can be customized if you are looking to maximize range, because obviously the more power, the more it drinks. That is something that is pretty neat and easily customizable. There's also added support for setting the duration of the boost mode. So you can modify that from 0 up to 60 seconds. And again, that boost mode is like that, the little rocket ship button that's up there, which is just maximum full peak power. We like to kind of jokingly call it the Tesla effect. It is like, if you've got traction under that rear tire, you can absolutely take off, and it's really cool. So now, yeah, you will be able to adjust that, from 10 seconds to 60 seconds. And yeah, obviously how important it is for you to beat your friends or how much you want to conserve battery, you can modify that. Another new feature is their smooth shift technology. So if you've got an XO or Axis T-type drivetrain on your bike, you will be able to take advantage of that smooth shift. It includes sort of a two-part release. One is that the drive unit is allowed to be shifted without pedaling. So think of it kind of like a coasting shift. If you're moving, you can shift, and the drive unit will offer a little bit of a spin to get that that chain to skip into a different gear. Another option that you have to manually elect for in your app, or on the screen I should say here, is the chain protection system. And what that will do is it will reduce torque when it senses or gets the feedback that you've pressed a shift button. So it will just momentarily reduce that torque so that it will kind of prolong the life of your chain, cassette, other drivetrain components that could be susceptible getting chewed up under max power. Another neat update that is something you can do on the fly is their RealTime Tune, and essentially the wireless controller will allow you to increase or decrease the assistance level of the current assist mode while you are riding. So it will just offer some fine tuning adjustments within each power mode by toggling up or down for more or less assist in that mode, which is a new feature of this most recent update, and one that we think is actually very cool. Another upgrade will be set to the charger system. So you can actually set one of 4 percentages as you're recharging your battery: 70, 80, 95, or 100%. So if you're looking to kind of maximize or preserve your battery life, if you're just going to charge the bike up to 70% and park the bike for winter or for a trip before you go out of town, and you just want it to be charged up to that 70% rather than going up to 95 or 100, you can set that up. There's also an added quick start function, which is another new feature here, and that is something that you can control very easily in your own setup, and you can toggle that up or down. So if you're starting on a hill and you sometimes have trouble getting, balanced and momentum going, that quick start feature will allow the drive unit to spin up and get you up to speed where you've got that balance point a little better. Of course, you're gonna have to learn that and experiment with that, and you can tailor that quick assist depending on each power mode. I know for myself, right, growing up in Southern California, where sometimes you get stalled out and it's very steep, loose, marbly over hard, there's times where like more power is not the answer, because all you're gonna do is just either one, completely spin out the back tire and dig yourself into a hole, or your front tire is gonna lift and make it really hard to just kind of start driving forward. But nevertheless, it's a cool feature that you can customize and tailor in the different power modes to make it the best for you and where you're riding. So continuing on down the list of updates, we're gonna move into more of the like user and experience kind of angle, and that's gonna be in regards to the display as well as the app user experience. There have been some really cool changes made there, and it allows you, or me especially, right, as like a non-techie person, I don't really like playing in apps. I don't like getting my phone out when I'm riding. I can really take care of all the stuff that I would want to change or customize here on the top tube display, which is really neat. And it will just, like I said, allow me to change what I want for power assist, what I want for overrun, how long I want that overrun to last, how much I want that hill assist to come on, and where I want the power cutoff to be. So there's spots where or certain power modes, I could say, where I want to have that 100 Newton meters of torque, but other times I might want to limit that a little bit lower. Same with, wanting to reduce power and maybe have it at like a 750 watts of power in certain modes. That way I can conserve battery range, right? Like it's amazing that there's an 800 watt hour battery in here and it's as light as it is. However, it does use that battery rather quickly, especially when you're running at max power all the time. So having the ability to quickly and easily cut that power down, even to 650 or 600 is really nice, and just a simple slide up and down will let you have several different riding experiences and range capabilities without having to like pull your phone out or spend a whole lot of time diving into that system. It's a very intuitive and easy to use program. And the customization aspect of it, from like detuning, how quick the power spins up or how delicate and sensitive you want it to be for your riding parameters, is really neat. We just got back from our full power e-bike shootout, and there were times where you ride around here on trails you're familiar with, or blasting up fire roads or anything like that, and like it doesn't really matter how insensitive, how fast, or like twitchy a drive unit is. All you're going to do is sit down in your seat and pedal and spin, and you want to get up to the hill as fast as you can, right? In some people's desire of owning an e-bike. When you translate that to control, traction, safety, I would even say, all of a sudden different things start to matter and make a really big difference, right? When you're riding up against a rock overhanging cliff edge and it's just a boulder field, vertically dropping 40 to 100 feet next to you, and you're trying to time pedal strokes and then like get in a half a crank to, get up a rock ledge or some rock stairs, you really want to know that when you make that pedal stroke and you time it right, the bike will accelerate at the right time, that the overrun won't run you over the backside, or that it won't stop and stall you out and smack your front end into that rock and not make it up the ledge. So there's a lot to be said about usable power, tunable power, not just flat out numbers on a chart. And that's something that we've really tried to talk a lot about, right? There's so much more that goes into how a bike performs and rides than what you see on a chart. And that's what's really neat about some of these updates. And we're really stoked actually to hear that DJI is taking so much real-time feedback from consumers, from riders, from testers and developers, and working to maximize that tunability for riders. because no one's demands are the same, right? Like I said, if you're just climbing a fire road or a service road at a bike park zone versus like climbing on the side of a cliff in Utah where you need to master your line and get that techie control dialed, you're gonna have a very different experience with the same setup. So that's something that's really neat and we're super excited about. Moving away from the performance side of the user experience, you've got the ability to change more of the data fields and features that you see on the screen as you're toggling around. You can adjust the order of the data displayed, as well as just kind of general control center control, for lack of a better word. You can better tailor what you see, the order in which you see it, and what matters to you most for your ride. So one of the last things that we'll kind of touch on are some of DJI's official statements. We had reached out to them just because we received this drive unit, or I should say this complete bike, gosh, probably 10 or so months ago at this point. When we got it, you know, it had the full 1,000 watts of power. We've talked to some brands who are developing bikes with the drive unit, and they have all expressed, you know, concern about like uncertainty, as well as consumers who maybe are hearing about a potential 750 watt max power regulation coming down the pipe and what that will mean, right? Will the bike they have then become illegal, or will brands that are currently building a bike and hoping to build it with 1,000 watts all of a sudden not be able to use that drive unit? How's that all going to play out? So we'll share just a couple of statements. Again, we'll have something on the website if you would like to read the entirety of DJI's comments, but they, in short, have said they are committed to adhere to established guidelines, and they are also committed to providing our users with support in light of any regulatory changes that may impact our products. So their goal is not to make any moves before they're absolutely needed. However, if that time comes, that they are willing to support and make those updates happen, whether that's sort of a forced change through the drive unit, or that's something that you'll have to elect to. I am not exactly sure yet, but I would imagine if there are federal regulations that are starting to come down in certain European countries or even here in North America, I'm sure that DJI will have an answer for that based on how quick this test app that we've been using has been updated and refined and changed based on feedback. I'm sure, you know, they've got the tech and the know-how to make those changes happen. So don't worry about that until it's time to worry about that, I guess, right? Ride the bike, have fun, be courteous, of course, say hello, try not to do more trail damage than everyone already does just by being outside, and have fun. Did I already mention that? Because fun is the #1 thing to do out there on the trail, followed by being a good person. So thank you guys very much. Hope you guys got a little bit of usable information out there. Stay tuned as we work our way through some more tech and feature focused videos, including DJI and the Avinox. We've got a really cool interview that we're working on, talking about all their technology, their years of experience doing agricultural and industrial drones out to like more of the recreational drones, and what that tech and years of expertise developing electronics has meant for this beautiful powerhouse right here. So stay tuned, everybody, for lots more. Leave any questions that you might have or would like us to address and answer back in the comments or in a future video regarding this Avinox drive unit or the Amflow bike. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and we'll see you out on the trails.